Welcome to Changemakers Bite Size. I hope you're having a great day so far. We've brought to you Changemakers Bite Size to inspire you on your transformation and your leadership journey. I'm joined today by my colleague and a very good friend, Sonia Allen. Sonia is going to be talking to you about what lean leaders must know before adopting new models. I hope you enjoyed today's session and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Speak to you soon.
Hello. Hi. Yes, thank you, Elsa, for the introduction. I'm Sonia, and I work mostly in the space of cultural transformation yet as a partners in my role as a transformation partner to organizations. Um, and also in my internal role where my team and I develop new approaches to inspire leaders, help organizations to achieve the culture they want, rather than to deal with the cultures they sometimes get stuck with. And in my spare time, I'm really passionate about understanding what makes organizations truly great, what creates those fantastic, connective, transparent cultures that we're all after. And I've had a bit of time in the Agile space myself, being very inspired around that. So this is why I thought it'd be a great idea to talk to you guys around what are the conditions. What are the conditions that need to be in place to make agile work, to make lean work, to make holacracy, self-management, teal organizations work? And can you actually create a similar result, achieve a similar culture without going all the way of radical change? So that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. But first, to something completely different. So I call this, out of my personal life, the bread maker conundrum. I don't know about you, but I, every year in January, go on a new year, new me drive. This year it was a bread maker. This year I decided that I was going to stop eating all processed food, do everything home cooked, and part of that experience was to buy a new bread maker. Now, um, I even roped my father in Germany in. My father is fantastic with researching things, so he went on a researching excursion for me to find the best possible bread maker. Sent me the link. I committed, I bought it, I got the bread maker, I got all of the ingredients, and I baked my first bread, and I felt so fantastic. And I did it 2 or 3 times more. And then, as it happens with, New Year's resolutions and our intention to change our behavior for the better, life happened. And I found myself sort of popping a loaf of bread into the shopping basket in my weekly Tesco shop. And I found the shiny new bread maker collecting dust on my kitchen counter for longer and longer, up until the point where I couldn't look at it anymore. And now it's collecting dust in a kitchen cupboard. Um, it might not be the bread maker for you. Maybe it's a gym membership or anything else where you tried to make a big change and then actually it didn't happen because you didn't change your behaviors. You didn't quite get there. Organizational transformation that fails is a bit like that because it takes more than just getting something shiny and new and getting all the ingredients in place. It takes something much deeper than good intentions to create lasting change. So let's talk about these new ways of working, and I'm calling them new-ish ways of working. I mean, if we think about Agile, right, that's been around for quite some time. We've read about teal organizations. Self-management is on the rise. We're reading about structures of squads and amoebas and circles and whatever you want to call them. There's more and more of these models coming out and being written about. And part of the reason why there's more and more of them coming out, many people call them new ways of working. I would say they're progressive rather than new because many of them really aren't that new. But the reason why there's so many different models is they're very specific. They're very specific to unique organizational environments, to the needs of the organization, and from where they start their journey. And they're really not that different to, if you think about grassroots lean, like power to the people lean, that as I often call it, where there's true shop floor engagement in terms of what they're trying to achieve. But when they do that, when they get there, the stories are inspiring beyond belief. Think about Hire and their render and high model. Think about Patagonia. We all want that really in organizational life, don't we? We want to have these purpose-driven organizations where people are entrepreneurial, where they're engaged, where they can feel connected. And it's so easy to go, just like with the bread maker, just like with the gym membership, to say, oh yeah, you know what? In order to combat all of the stuff that makes me feel bad about going to work on a Sunday, the red tape, the disempowerment, the politics, the bureaucracy, all that stuff, what I'm going to do is, as a leader, I'm going to radically restructure my organization. But is that going to work? Is it as easy as changing a structure and adopting a new model or new-ish model that we read about on LinkedIn or in a book to really sustainably change culture? Sadly, it's not. We all know that, right? So let's explore a little bit why. So there's actually two things that all of these fantastic progressive work models, those models that lead to complete transparency, self-leadership, ownership, engagement, all of that wonderful stuff, what they all have in common. And the fact is that they all require everyone to adopt a new set of beliefs and a new set of behaviors, and not just for a period of time, but sustainably. That requires practice, that requires us to consistently unlearn old behaviors, old thoughts, and learn the new and push for that and do it together. And typically they're also enabled by really great systems and processes. They don't operate in messy environments. They have great IT systems, clarity, visibility, all these type of things that, in our lean world at SA Partners, we've been helping organizations for donkey's years, 31 years now, to try and achieve that. And we keep doing that all day, every day. The point at which all this stuff gets really tricky is that radical change is hard. And it's hard in any organization. It's not just hard if you're trying to do something progressive. It requires leaders to do things differently. It requires leaders, we all know that, to lead with why, but also let go of learned control behaviors. So it's not enough to call your leaders coaches now or to strip out layers of middle management. This is about behavioral change and mindset change, and learning a completely new way of interacting with our team, with our organization, with our processes, and with our network. And that is true for absolutely everyone. Absolutely everyone needs to step up, unlearn old ways of working, unlearn old habits, unlearn old patterns, rethink what they think they know, challenge their biases, and be open to learn and experiment and fail, and learn and experiment and fail again, and go through this cycle to create something that is truly new. In order to do that, we need to create a condition of true safety. We need to create tribes that come together around a common why, around common beliefs. That's not easy. And then, of course, it gets even harder when your processes and business system are messy, right? If Elsa does the job in a different way as I would do the job. And now we're currently being challenged to sort of bounce around between the jobs on role-based working, while in parallel, we need to do all sorts of other different things. When we are in a self-managed team, we take many different hats. We have many different roles, so to say. We are not just in charge of doing the work, we're in charge of leading the work, we're in charge of innovating the work. All these type of things can't really happen in a highly variable and messy environment. We need an environment of clarity to be able to wear all those different hats. And then imagine if you are changing, but the world around you isn't. So I've seen this in particular in highly regulated environments, pharma, public sector environments, where, you know, teams we've been working with have experimented with, in particular, Agile and self-management, but the world around them wasn't changing at all. The world around them was still the same red tape, bureaucratic thing that they were always used to. And while those teams, those pockets of greatness, try to interact with them in a different way, they also had different needs, different needs for freedom, different needs for quicker decision making, and so on. And the world around them couldn't respond in the same way. And that creates a whole lot of friction and a whole lot of difficulty. So in order to really make this work, it's not just looking at what's in front of your nose, your leaders, your team, your processes, your systems, but actually also, how do these interconnections work? How do you operate a network in this way of working? So what does work? I always say that transformation that succeeds is a human-led, tech-enabled, customer-centric process of delivering organizational purpose and continuous learning. So let's break those down into bits. Let's talk about people first. You can see on my LinkedIn profile, I am a self-confessed humanity nerd. People are at the heart of everything I do. And we all know our people need to be engaged in our transformation. Our people need to be on board with the change. And we all know that we need to connect around a common why, right? But what we often get wrong as leaders of organizations is often leaders of organizations think the why is created in the boardroom by the CEO and the exec team. And the team, they are just responsible to co-create the hows and the whats, or sometimes only the whats if you're like a little bit more hierarchical. That's absolutely not true. Purpose is something that exists all around us, and it's something that as leaders we need to go and find, and we need to go and understand, and we need to go and collect those stories that, as my dear colleague Mark Fillingham often calls it, a common social future. I often use the example of planting an oak tree. Imagine your organization was tasked with planting an oak tree, and we all work in there together. Now, Elsa might plant the oak tree because of the great quality air it will provide. I might plant the oak tree because I want my stepdaughter to fall in love under it. You might plant the oak tree because you really enjoy nurturing something as it's growing, and you like watering it, and you might want to do it together with your family and create memories while you nurture this oak tree. Now, we all have the same purpose. We all have the goal of nurturing and growing this oak tree. But we have all a personal connection to it, a personal belief, a personal why, a personal driver. As leaders, we need to understand those. We need to collect those. We need to find them, and we need to shape them together into this common social future, the why that we all sign up to and that we all believe in, and around which we can rally and turn into followers of a movement. That's the same for any transformation, radical or not. That's just successful transformation. And then, of course, once we have that, we need to be curious. And the best question to ask is, how much better could it be? How much better could we be at this today? And how could we do it together? And only then get into the what's. Again, this is a common truth for any transformation. And then looking at it from the process perspective, I've already said, the first thing we need is stability. I cannot expect my people to learn lots of new skills and learn old behaviors, do things completely differently in the way they collaborate, interact, work together, if the machine in the corner constantly goes poof, pang, beep, everything is broken, everything is full of waste. So the first thing we need to do is we need to stabilize our processes. And then we should think about how to simplify them, how to make them more visual, how to make them clearer, and what can we take away from the team to have to deal with altogether? What can we automate? Because this is something that most progressive organizations have in common. They have really good, really visual, really stable, and highly automated process environments. So this is another condition. If you are thinking about going into more newer working models or any transformation whatsoever, any large-scale transformation whatsoever, have a real hard look at today and put some work into making that bit more stable, that bit simpler, that bit more visual. I feel like I talked really quickly, so I'm going to slow down a little bit now. So how do we shift the dial? The first recommendation we always give to any of our clients is start with the outcome in mind. And I often use this personal example. So imagine I'm making dinner for my family, right? What am I really trying to achieve? I want my family to be fed. I want my family to feel connected. I want my family to be content and happy and sitting together and making a memory, sitting around the table, having a delicious meal. Of course, there's tasks I need to complete. I need to cook a meal, right? I need to buy the ingredients, go back to Tesco, pop that loaf of bread in my basket, and cook the actual meal. And the output of it is a delicious meal that we all share together. But that isn't the outcome I want to achieve. And very often, the progressive working models that organizations go for and look for, that is in itself only an output. It's not an outcome. The outcome of progressive organizations or new ways of working is an organization that is truly connected around a common why, that have clarity on these common social futures they want to create, that they embrace the new, they're delivering great results. Now, you can achieve that outcome by radically transforming, or you can achieve that outcome by very simply just start to understand where you are today, analyze your business systems, analyze your culture, co-create that common social future, and then rally around that why. Create a clear roadmap to co-create change, deliver that operating model. What's it going to look like? What are the systems? What are the processes? What's a culture that we want to build here today together for our future to deliver this outcome? And progressive working models can be one of those outputs, one of those vehicles that help us achieve those outcomes, but they don't have to be. necessarily. You can do all of that without going all teal. That's a choice. So what can you do today, right now, if you do want to start shifting the dial a little bit without going right head first into complete radical change? The first thing is to ask better questions. Ask better questions around purpose. Go and find those stories and understand them, listen to them, hear them, and always challenge yourselves with that one critical question of how much better could it be? How could we get there? The other thing is to look at leadership. There's nothing more destructive in organizational life than inauthentic leadership, than leadership that is just about themselves, egocentric, agenda pushing, political. Whereas authentic and purposeful leadership, where the leader behavior truly matches the aspiration, where leaders are creating environments in which we can all be the best versions of ourselves, create fantastic cultures. They just do. And the other thing is, you can fix the basics. So, and see how radical a change is really required once you've got your processes under control, once you have created that environment and so on. And it might well be that you say, now we're ready to go for self-management. Now we're ready to strip off that next layer. But you might say, actually, the world is good and we don't need to. One of the things that we do offer actually on our website, and you can contact Elsa or myself about this as well, is we offer something that we call our Org Pulse assessment. It is a current state assessment of the critical business systems and the culture you have in your business. If you're interested in that, you can, of course, get in touch with us. We can do that for you for free as a first look to dip your toe into finding your common social future, whether that's an agile one or just the next step on your purposeful journey. That's me. I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you for listening. Do we have any questions?
There was one comment in there from Jonathan. You might want to quickly have a quick look at. While you do so, I'll just remind people that we've got an excellent session next week with Connor Dawson, and his session is on Blessed Are the Change Makers. And he is looking at how we should embrace people that are in innovation and in change within our organizations. Connor's fabulous on this topic, and you should really come along if you can. Really enjoyable session. But thank you again, Sonia. Thank you for joining us all today live on LinkedIn. Do drop us a line if you'd like to catch up.
Thank you guys so much. I'll respond to the comments on LinkedIn. Thank you. Bye.